Portugal here, Colmonton up in Anadia in the Aveiro district. Good evening to everybody. And good evening to you, Gilda Pereira. Are you there? How are you this evening? And how's Lisbon?
Yeah, I'm fine. Lisbon is fine.
Maybe you could begin by telling us a little bit about your company for those who don't know you or haven't heard of EI. If we could start there before we go into the distinction between the D7 and the D2, and then
Sure.
the distinctions of the D2. So yes, tell us about yourself.
Some of you already know me and my company. We help people that want to move to Portugal. We analyze the profile of the people, and we tell which is the best type of visa to apply and to come and settle in Portugal. So that's basically what we do. We work with the whole countries. We just apply the foreign Portuguese law to each person in particular. We work with the step plan. It's a very customized service because people have different needs and families are different. And so what we do is that first we settle first Skype or Zoom conversation. I analyze the profile, and then I make a step plan, a customized step plan for the visa.
Okay, and you deal with many D7s, I think. Not so many people know about the D2. So I wonder if we could start there in establishing the distinction, the difference between the D7 and the D2 visas, please, and then we'll go into the specifics of the D2 thereafter.
Yeah, great. Most people, the people are more familiarized with the D7. The D7 is a resident visa that it's based on the own income. So you need to show to the Portuguese authorities that you have own income, like a retirement, properties that are rented, profit from companies that they might have, things like that. The main purpose is to show the Portuguese authorities that you are able to sustain yourselves while moving to Portugal. This doesn't mean that you afterwards, and once you are in Portugal, and if you are still young and want to work, you are able to do after you get your resident permit. The D2, it's more for younger people that don't have much savings or don't have properties yet, but they are entrepreneurs and they want to start up a company in Portugal, or they work as independent service providers with a contract, and they can show that they have means to develop and have that services being rented in Portugal to any other country. So in the D2 visa, there are two types: the entrepreneur and the independent service provider.
Okay, excellent. And I think that the latter, the independent service provider, is responding to the great popularity of Portugal, and especially Lisbon, I think, as a home for the digital nomads and entrepreneurs and people coming into the startup scene. Is that your experience? Is that what you think is going on at the moment?
No, yes, it is. It is my experience, especially people from the IT and startups of technology. They are just popping up especially in Lisbon, and we get many contacts from entrepreneurs from Brazil, United States, and Israel. Those are like the main countries that they come to Portugal to invest in startups, and we are talking about early 30s, people in their early 30s.
Okay, that's all professional. Brilliant. I notice as well, all over Portugal, especially in the universities, that there's quite a sort of incubator startup scene as well. So it seems like the whole of Portugal is responding to this kind of person and wanting to encourage that sort of innovation from foreigners coming into Portugal.
Yes, exactly. Even another branch under the D2 visa is the startup visa. which is also a program granted by the Portuguese government, that if you want to start up a company but you didn't do it yet, because for the normal entrepreneur visa you have to have a company in Portugal already settled. But they now started this program, which is the startup program, and with this you just need to find an incubator that that will receive your project, and with that they will issue documents and you can have the D2 visa.
Excellent.
It's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really responding to a scene that's developing, I think, here in Portugal, which is very exciting. Now, in our marketing for this, we did say it's slightly more complicated, the D2 than the D7, and it's not as well known. And I'm sure you have a way of breaking this down, taking it step by step. So I wonder if we could begin. I mean, I think we have some clue there as to who might be appropriate for this kind of visa. But what if somebody wanted to go for it? What were the steps that they would need to take to do that, and how would they get involved with you to do that?
Okay, it depends. It is more complicated, and it doesn't have as much advantage as the D7, because with the D7 you will have your income from your home country, okay, and you pay taxes especially if you're American, you need to pay taxes in America, and the income is coming from America. And you can apply for the NHR and you won't be taxed in Portugal. It's not going to be the same with the D2. The D2 you are going to be taxed in Portugal. Okay, you still can apply for the NHR, but it will only grant you for specific professionals, for a specific service, such as informatic, medical services. Very specific, what they called add value professionals. Okay. They can apply for the NHR and they will fix the tax rate at 20%. Okay. On the personal income tax, which is good. It's half the way of the we can go until 48%. So if you can fix the rate at 20%, it's good for 10 years.
Oh, that is good. Okay. And that is the NHR regime, is it, or a variant of it?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
Okay, and we have a question there already. Once, let's say somebody, and we'll go back to the step-by-step process of the D2, but just in relation to the NHR there, how, once somebody's got a D2 visa, this is Ibrahim asking, when do you apply for the NHR status? Is it a concurrent, simultaneous application, or do you have to get the D2 first and then apply for NHR?
It's always the same, regardless the type of visa, okay? You have a resident visa that allows you to move into Portugal. It can be the D2, the D7, the D1, doesn't matter. Any D visa will grant you residency in Portugal. Yep. So with the visa, you come to Portugal. Then that visa is going to turn into a resident permit. You need to go to the CEF, which are the Portuguese foreign authorities that will grant you the resident permit. Once you have the resident permits, you have to change your tax residence to Portugal. And then comes the NHR, which is totally separated from any kind of visa process. Yes. Okay, it's taken care in the tax office. It's a totally different thing. The only thing that you need to be aware is that once you have your resident permits, you need to change your tax residence in the tax office into the Portuguese one, the one that you have in your resident permit, and then you will apply for the NHR. It's almost always granted, because the only thing that they ask for is that if you were not a tax resident in Portugal for the past 5 years. Okay. So it's an easy requirement.
Yeah.
And then in that you have two types of benefits. One of them is for the income that you have abroad.
Yes.
Okay. The NHR is going to say, with this, we are not going to tax the income that you have abroad. Exception made for the pension. They are now taxing a 10% flat rate.
Okay.
And then the other part is the income that you get in Portugal. If they consider that the job that you are doing and the service that you are rendering is an add valued profession, they will fixate the tax rate at 20% personal income tax.
Okay, excellent. So the step-by-step process there for Ibrahim and others is you get your visa, and once granted your visa, you go for residency. And once you have your residency, you're moving then from, I guess the sequence is you're dealing with the SCF at first, the Bureau for Immigration into Portugal. Then you're dealing with your local Câmara Municipal for your residency, and or CEF. And then you move into Finanças for the NHR regime, and in that order.
Yeah.
Perfect.
The only thing is that if you can skip the Câmara part if you are not from the UK.
And work with SCF. Directly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, excellent. And that's why you need Gilda's help, everybody, because we're going into the complexity of it tonight. And obviously, Gilda is a professional in this area who can support you. If you're a premium member of expatsportugal.com, you get 10% off her services as well. And a really good call here, Curtis. You've asked us to describe some of the terms that have been bandied around so far on the acronyms. I hope by now with NHR, you understand that as non-habitual resident status there for taxation, which is a slightly misleading title, it has to be said, but NHR it is, non-habitual resident. How is a website startup entrepreneur a digital nomad? Yes, sorry for mixing that up. I just think Portugal, Lisbon is very attractive for digital nomads, and I think some stay. So that's when they would convert from being a nomad into somebody who settles and stays here, having seen how brilliant it is. And what is an incubator in this context? Good question. That is I suppose, the little support system, the test bed, if you like, for prototyping a company within a semi-academic context that a lot of universities have around Portugal. So I hope that helps. Let's go back then, Gilda, to the D2 and the step-by-step process. Somebody listening tonight thinks, yes, definitely, that's the one for me. I'm going to start a company, or I'm working for a company, or I'm a startup. I'm going to ring Gilda up. What's the process you take them through for that?
Okay, so first, I have some approach of young couples and young people that want to apply for the D7, and then when I make the consultation, I understand that they don't have enough savings for the D7. They don't have enough income, but then they say, yeah, but I run a company. And when they say that, then your path should be you start up a company in Portugal. Mm-hmm. If you want to come to live to Portugal, you already have a company. You start up a company in Portugal, and we help you and we guide you through all the process. The first thing that you will need, as always, will be the Portuguese tax number. You can't do anything without it. So we get the Portuguese tax number, we get the power of attorneys to start up a company. We make contact with accountants, and because it's mandatory to start up a company. And once the company is incorporated and has a bank account, the minimum that we advise for the visa to be approved, it's 5,000 euros. Okay, 5,000 euros. And then you need to present a step plan, because the decision of the consulate is going to be based on the economic, scientific, humanitarian interest that the company may bring to Portugal. So you need to make a good step plan. So when the consulate is reading your process, we'll understand that you are going to add value to the country.
Yeah.
And we also have partners that help you with that. That's why I say now you understand it's more complicated.
Indeed. And when you say step plan, that's like a business plan, which presumably by that stage, most people will have a business plan if that's how they're operating in life and they're starting a company. But just to check, that is what you mean, like a business plan?
Yeah, it's a business plan.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. Sorry, I think you were going to continue there.
Yes, these are for persons that want to start a business and they already have a business in their country.
Yeah.
Must be aware that when someone is applying for the entrepreneur visa, many consulates take in consideration if you are already an entrepreneur in your home country. Mm-hmm. Okay, so most of them are. And what we do is we show the company that they owned in their own country and the professional path that they did. And then we said, now this person wants to come and do the same in Portugal. It helps a lot. Mm-hmm. Although it's not impossible to start up a company for the first time and do the visa process. But then I would advise that the investment would be higher than 5,000, and they have a good step plan for that. Okay,
excellent. Sorry, I think you're going to continue again there.
If you don't want to start a company, if you're not an entrepreneur, but you have independent service provider contract,
yes.
And this is the latest news.
Okay.
Is that until the pandemic, the understanding of the authorities was that this service provider contract should be and must be with the Portuguese company. Mm-hmm. Okay, and we did many processes like this for IT companies. But now, because of the pandemic, many people came to us and asked, but now we can work remote, we have contracts, we are independent service providers, we can work from where we want. And then we were checking the law in the office, and it doesn't state anywhere that the company needs to be Portuguese.
Okay.
So we addressed the authorities and we said, listen, we are having many requests from people that have contracts as service providers. Only these contracts are not with Portuguese companies, but it's not mandatory by law. And it was quite funny. As always, we got different answers from everywhere. Some said, yeah, it makes sense. You can go for it. Some said, no, it's impossible. It needs to be a Portuguese company. So then we had to address this because the first question went to almost all the consulates and then different questions. And then we addressed to the Foreign Affairs Ministry and they said, yes, it makes sense that it doesn't need to be a Portuguese company, but at least this person needs to open an activity at the tax office in Portugal and needs to issue receipts from the Portuguese tax authorities, meaning that all the income needs to go through Portugal.
Yes, understandably so. Okay.
Therefore, not tax-free under the NHR.
Sure. But that's a very interesting distinction, isn't it? And one that I think as more people begin to understand it and are more aware of it, makes Portugal a very exciting and interesting place to live whilst working remotely, not necessarily anymore for a Portuguese company, but for any company in the world, as long as you're raising your invoices in Portugal, as you say.
Yes. And some people, actually I had a call today of someone that had the company and said that wanted to bring the business to Portugal and wanted to have the benefits from the NHR. Mm-hmm. And I told that person, listen, it's not going to be possible because if you're running a company from Portugal, you have to pay, it's going to be a Portuguese company and it has to pay taxes in Portugal and you have to pay taxes. The only thing is that if we look to what you do and your profile, we can apply for the flat tax rate of 20%. But there is something that it should be in the equation. Portugal, it's not very attractive to companies as far as it concerns to the tax, our tax system. You might know that, Carl.
Mm-hmm.
You've been here for a few years.
I have heard
but
it.
but the thing is that the cost of life, it's cheaper, and also if people want to they can employ people with very good quality, and the wages are lower than in other countries.
Yeah, so the advantages are different. You're not going to get a massive tax break for settling as starting or moving or starting a company in Portugal. It doesn't work like that. The benefits for doing that come in a different form.
Exactly. That's what I explained.
Okay, and just to make a little bit of a distinction there, when you said in this new case and this new news about contractors, basically, who and this we do go back to digital nomads here, I guess, because somebody who could be working anywhere in the world remotely could choose Portugal. They won't be starting a company. They will be going to finance us. And I think the term you used was you have to start an activity. And that's basically you register yourself as a consultant or a service provider. And then
exactly. At the tax office.
Yeah, at the tax office, at the finances office. And then you raise your invoices via the very clever and complex finances portal. So you do that all online, and your invoices are raised that way, yeah, once you've opened up the activity, which is what people call it in Portugal, right?
Yes. I advise people to get an accountant.
Yes.
Even though if they don't have a company, it's not mandatory, but I will strongly advise that.
Okay, and presumably you have recommendations for such professionals as well.
Yeah, because if you come to Portugal, it's the tax system it can be complex, and you have many things that you have to deliver every 3 or 4 months, and if you don't have an accountant, it can be a little bit tricky.
Yes. Okay. Good advice there. Okay. We have further questions, unless of course there's anything else you want to fill us in with about the processes or the complexities of the D2.
We didn't start doing the D2 we didn't start yet doing this process because it's something really new that we just figure out with the authorities a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
But we already know everything that they want and they ask for, and I can't wait to start doing one as a trial.
Yeah. Okay. And you've explained there that the taxation situation, the NHR, double taxation, does that vary depending on which country you come from? Or if you do have the D2, will you be spared paying tax twice?
You are almost always spared to pay tax twice, okay. Because we have the NHR, regardless the type of visa, that will protect your income that you have abroad, and we have the double taxation agreements with other countries, in almost all of them. Yeah. So in the worst case scenario, you would be paying for the difference of what you are taxed in your country and what would be the tax rate in Portugal.
Okay, but not double.
Not double.
Okay, the difference, but not double. That's good news, I'm sure, to people here. This is a good question. Does the company have to earn its income from Portugal? I would suspect not.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just read a question that popped up here, and it's very important. If it's considered a tax haven country, it's not exempt under the NHR, the income.
Okay.
And they make it really clear, and it's going to be taxed under the Portuguese rules.
Okay, so no haven in that case. All right.
Yeah.
Yes. So, do you have to? You don't have to make the income in Portugal, do you? I mean, if you're operating as a company based in Portugal, you could be trading with anyone anywhere in the world. It's about where the invoice is raised, isn't it, that matters?
Exactly. Okay. Yeah.
All right, Paula. If you're an employee of a company and that company will allow you to work remotely, is that a D2? I think so.
Not if the contract is a work contract. It needs to be an independent service provider.
Oh, I see. Okay, so not an employment contract. Yes. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
in the sense there, then, that you're a contractor who could offer your services to anybody, but in this particular case, to one particular company at that particular time, and not a standard employment contract.
Yes,
Okay. So,
exactly.
Paula, you might need to speak to your employer and change your own orientation there and become more of a consultant than an employee, by the sound of it.
Yeah, actually, I know Paulo. We already talked.
Oh, good.
And I think she will be better under the D7
Oh, okay.
from the analysis I already made.
That's good service. All right, fantastic, fantastic personal service there. But a very good question nonetheless, Paula, I think there, and that could change how people want to position themselves as whether they're an employee, a consultant, a business, or so on. When I submit my file to immigration, as in my application, do I need to be in Portugal meanwhile? I think not. You don't have to be here to do that. You have to be here for parts of it, right? Or than the important parts.
Oh, I just saw the email from the message from Paula. It was for her daughter. Sorry.
Oh, all right.
So we will check on your daughters afterwards.
All right. Okay, Paula. Even better individual service there for Paula. Very good.
Okay, sorry about that. Regarding to your question, this process always needs to start in the country of origin.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
It can be done in Portugal, but it won't be a wise thing to do because it takes ages. Mm-hmm. And if you are an entrepreneur and if you want to travel, you don't want to be stuck in the country waiting for your resident permit for around 2 years, which is the time that it takes if you make the process from Portugal and not from your home country. So we are talking about getting visas, and visas are always granted outside Portugal. There isn't any Portuguese entity in Portugal that is going to grant you a visa. Okay, because the visas are for you to come into the country. So you need to get a visa outside the country.
Yes, okay. So if you came here, you would only be a tourist anyway, and you'd be subject to the limitations of your tourist visa anyway. So yeah, do it outside. That's a really good distinction. That's really good to know. That makes it very clear. Thanks, Gilda. Can a company have dual identities? And I think this is a question that comes up when people are forming a company here. You know, could they, for example, have a holding company in their country of origin and have a Portuguese office? Which is the best way to do that? And, you know, especially when it comes to going through the D2 process.
It doesn't make much difference. You can open a company in Portugal from the zero. Actually, it is easier. Or if you already have a company in your home country, you can open a branch, or you can open a company that is held by your company outside. It doesn't make much difference, but the process is it can be easier if you start up a company from zero.
Okay, all right. And start an LDA here. That's the name.
Yes.
Of the company.
Yes.
An
LDA. It can be one partner only or several partners.
Okay, and acronym alert there, or abbreviation alert, I should say. What does LDA stand for, so that people know? Or does
limited responsibility.
Okay, so it's basically a limited company. It's fees for limited company, I think.
Yeah, limited liability company. Thank you, Curtis.
Thank you very much. This is quite specialist and possibly more of a taxation issue than a residency immigration one. But Jeff asked, what are the corporation tax rates, and can we operate as we do in the UK, i.e., take dividends instead of a full salary? So can someone come here and be paid dividends instead of taking a wage?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Although it's complicated. Sure. Because some countries, and I know, like Brazil, you can take dividends once you pay your corporate tax. And here in Portugal, I think it's around 21 or 22. I'm not sure. 21 or 22. And once you pay your corporate tax on your profit, okay, you pay like 21% on your profit, and then you want to take dividends for yourself, you pay 28%.
Okay.
So then you are being double taxed.
Yes. Okay. So Jeff, that's worth knowing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I feel sorry for myself. I suffer a lot
with this particular condition.
Yes, because all I do is pay taxes. I get so angry sometimes.
Okay, well that's a very human share. Thank you, Gilda, for that.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm sure others can sympathise and feel your pain as well. You know, but you know, just think of all the lovely things that money is spent on here in Portugal.
Yeah, and also how grateful my job is, because it is.
Yep. All right. Superb. Okay. And thanks, Curtis. So LDA, that will be a limited company for those of you in the UK, and it would be an LLC. In the United States. Now, on this matter of starting a company, Gilda, I've heard it said, oh, that's no problem. We can start a company in Portugal in an hour, pretty much. Is that true?
Yes, it is true.
Boom. Okay. And it says it can be as simple as that.
Yeah, you just need to have your Portuguese tax number.
Obviously. Okay, so there's another abbreviation acronym, the NIF number, everybody. I'm sure everybody must be familiar with that now. All these people who don't even live in Portugal yet absolutely know what a NIF number is, I think, from these webinars. So there you go. You need the NIF. All financial life in Portugal revolves around the NIF number. So on that matter of how long things take, and it looks like you can, in the best of circumstances, open a company up in an hour. I don't think you can have your own name, can you? It would be an off-the-shelf sort of thing, right? If you're getting it opened up in an hour.
Yes. Yeah. If you want to do it in 1 hour, you are not able to choose the name. You can pick it up from the list that they provide, with very funny names.
Which is always fun, isn't it? Okay, good.
Yeah.
So time scale there, 60 minutes to open up a company. That's good news. But what about D7s and D2s, the comparison there? Which is faster of those two, would you say? And I know it obviously depends on people's personal circumstances, but roughly speaking.
Well, the D7 is always faster.
Okay.
The D7 is always faster because it has, you can cut a few steps.
Okay.
Okay. And also, if you are going as an entrepreneur, they will also analyze the interest of the company. Okay, if it's interesting to have that company or not in Portugal. And if you're going with a D7, you just need to show that you have enough income to sustain yourself. So there isn't many judge about it.
Okay.
As much as it is on the D2.
Okay, so generally speaking, then D7 is always going to be faster. But if you want the advantages of the D2, be prepared for that extra time.
Yeah, when do I advise the D2? For people that don't fulfill all the requirements for a D7.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to give you an example. Sometimes people come to me and say, I'm an entrepreneur. I want to start a company in Portugal. I want a D2. Okay. Yeah. And it makes sense. Okay, I can give you a D2. And then I ask, okay, but do you have enough income? Do you have savings? Do you take profit from the company that you have? Oh yeah, I do. So we go for the D7, and then you start the company here, because it's going to be faster.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's good to know. This is an interesting case study here. Then going with another example, I'm a landlord with a number of rental properties in the UK. Would this qualify me to operate my business from Portugal as a self-employed person? What would be the advantages of that? I mean, the first thing I would be asking you, Jeff, is why you haven't already taken up residency as a UK person before the end of the year. I mean, that would be the most obvious and fastest thing to do if you're interested in Portuguese residency. But I don't want to cut across you there, Gilda. What do you think of that?
I think that if he has properties and he lives out of the rentals, he should apply for the D7.
Okay.
If the D7 is going to be applicable to the UK citizens, because we don't know yet.
Yeah, of course, of course. And then get a decent tax advisor or accountant to manage the income as income that's coming into Portugal.
Yeah, but if it's going to be a D7, he can apply for the NHR, and he only pay taxes in UK.
Okay.
Not here.
So there you go, Jeff. Hope that's helpful. I'm moving to Portugal in a year or so, says Linda. I want to have my UK. This again, sorry, this is less to do with visas and more to do with taxation, but you might be able to help here, Gilda, or give us a recommendation. But I want to have my UK wages paid into my Portuguese account before I move over. Will I be taxed on this? And how much am I allowed to put in before I am taxed? So I think sort of breaking that down a bit more, UK wages paid into a Portuguese bank account. Portugal will want to tax that, won't they?
No, because it's a wage, and it's already taxed in the UK before they do the wire transfer. If the only thing is that Portugal is going to be the final destination of the amount, it's not going to be taxed.
Okay, so if it's been taxed at source, it can come into a Portuguese bank account.
Yeah.
And without limit.
Without limits.
Okay, all right. That's good. I'm sure that's good news to you, Linda. Ibrahim brings up the good point of when if and when you have your D2, how long do you have to be in Portugal each year? This is a question a lot of people ask, isn't it?
It's always the same. It's 6 years in a row, or 6 years, 6 months in 6 months in a row,
Okay, relax
or
6 months.
or 8 months if they're intercalated.
Okay, as in what?
In a year. A year.
All right, that's good to know. Thank you for that question. Thank you for all your questions, Ibrahim. Actually,
but let me explain. If you're an entrepreneur, and if you're running business from other countries, there is, like, in these hidden letters in the law, says that if you don't stay in Portugal for this time because of business purpose, you can show that and prove that, and they will grant you the renewal.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that caveat there.
Yeah, it happened before with some clients of mine. They are running business all over, and when the time came of the renewal, because they check the stamps, if it's inside the Schengen area, it's okay, but if it's outside, they will check the stamps.
Yeah.
And also they ask for the 3 last months bank statements, and if they see that the movements were outside Portugal, then they will say, okay, you didn't spend the necessary time for the renewal, and then we need to go with extra explanation if we have a good one that, according to the law, it's going to explain why you weren't in Portugal for that period.
Okay, and does your company manage these sorts of processes and negotiations, or do you have associates that would do that?
It depends. Some of them we do it. If we think that it's not on our expertise, we have associates, and one of them, it's Daniel, that sometimes it's here in the webinars also. He's very good with that. Okay. Difficult cases, we'll bring to him.
And that's what you need, is somebody of that sort of a legal or financial or accountancy stature to have it out with the appropriate authority.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Well, the reason Jeff won't be coming to do the residency is because Mrs. Townley is not doesn't want to move just yet. So it will be D7 for you guys, I think, and you can speak to Gilda about that. Anything else then, Gilda, that comes to mind that we haven't mentioned yet, or that's vital in this process? The sense I get is that D7 is easier and faster, but should people have a problem with that, the D2 can offer a good alternative. Especially if people are in this condition of wanting to start a company, or if they're a remote contractor for a company. Is that?
Yes, of course, it's a good option, and not everybody needs to have the same profile. And especially for young couples, they are more into the D2 profile than the D7.
Okay. So, and this would be established by you in your interview with somebody on Skype. I mean,
Yes.
so the first step is to have the chat, isn't it? Basically.
Yes, it's very important, because sometimes people think that they want one thing, and then after I talk, it's a different story.
Okay, so checking the assumptions is basically what we're saying there.
Yeah.
And have a chat with you.
And then there is a lot of misinformation in the internet. I can see that. For instance, I'm going to give an example here. I hope that I won't be, if my body appears somewhere tomorrow, it's because of this. Okay.
Are you sure
No,
you want to say this? Okay, go on.
No, but I'm going to say it
Right.
anyway. I'm not scared.
Okay.
I always tell the truth. What is happening, and I see, it's that many services, many agencies, many real estate agencies, many law office are doing is they are saying, if you go for the golden visa, you can have the NHR program. So many people come to me, say, I want the golden visa because I want the NHR. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, you want the NHR, and that's the only reason why you want the golden visa? Yes, it is. And I say, but you can have the NHR regardless the type of visa that you are going to have. Why you are going for the most expensive type of visa if you want to move to Portugal just because of the NHR? No, you are entitled to the NHR regardless the type of visa that you have.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. And I think what would appear to be the case there is some people are falling for possibly a sales pitch or a marketing ploy rather than a system that suits their personal needs. And that's where you started in our conversation tonight, of course, is that's what the first thing you do is assess people's personal circumstances and find the right thing for them. And it sounds like other companies are just trying to squeeze people into an existing framework that might be better for the company in question. So yes. On that matter then, Gilda, an initial interview with you, do you charge for the first one, or will you do that analysis free of charge?
I wish I could do the analysis free of charge, but no, I can't, because there are too many people. Luckily for us,
yes.
and yes, and it's usually around 1 hour, and I do about 3 or 4 consultations a day. Mm-hmm. So I need to charge because it's part of my working day.
Yep.
It's 100 euros. I can tell the price. They can get a discount if they come from the Portugal expats. I'm sorry, Expats Portugal. I hate when you don't say my name well, and now I was doing this.
Yes, so you got your own back there. That's fine. We're level now, I think.
So yeah, I do charge, but what I do is that I have the conversation. And I don't block it to just that conversation.
Yes.
I prepare a step plan that also requires time for me. It's a customized step plan. And after the step plan, if someone wants to talk with me about the doubts of the step plan, or if they have doubts about different things, they can always book another conversation free of charge.
Okay. All right. Well, that seems entirely reasonable given how thorough it is, and people will be getting value from that whole process anyway. So yeah, I guess you have to be wary, don't you, of people who lure you in with that first free consultation, which might not amount to anything or be very helpful. Obviously, yours is very thorough. It's an hour long, and it's it's only €100 or 90 if you're a premium member of Expats Portugal. Sorry, I think I interrupted you there. You were going to add something, I think.
No.
Okay. All right. So Linda came in a little bit late, and this is abbreviation acronym test for everybody. She says, what is the NHR? I've come in late. It's non-habitual resident status for taxation purposes. And Ibrahim asks on that note, does the NHR always help me avoid taxes on foreign salary income, or only with the taxation treaty?
Always.
Okay.
The only exception is if your income comes from tax haven country.
Tax havens, of course, which we went before. Okay. And Jeff agrees. That is very good value. So there's no such thing as a free lunch. Well said, Jeff. And you'll be getting some good value from that €100 spend from Gilda to find out exactly the right step and move to take there, I think. And Ibrahim, thankful for your responses there. So I think that covers all our questions. Oh, no, we've got another comment coming in. Salary income or partnership income on profits, is that the same thing? So do you mean the total household income there, Curtis? I'm not sure exactly what's behind the question there, but yeah, I think that's pretty much all our comments and questions tonight in the comments there. I don't know if there's anything you want to add, Gilda, to what's already been said.
No, I think I already talked a lot.
You've been amazing. And I think in such a complex and a complicated system, you've given some very straight and direct answers, which is fantastic. You've told everybody what it's going to cost to consult with you. People know exactly where they stand, and they can see you know your stuff, and they can go ahead and book you and have that hour-long Skype and the report that comes from it. And of course, get a discount if they are expatsportugal.com members. On average, then, final question, on average, how long does it take to get the D7? And again, obviously it varies from person to person, but roughly speaking, the D7?
Okay, according to law, it should be 2 months, but it's not, it's never 2 months. It's around, well, I say never, but actually we got one visa approved now in 6 weeks in Washington, D.C., which was pretty good. I was really happy. But usually it's about 3 months. And then you need to have in mind that it's about 1.5 months, 2 months for the preparation of the documents. Yeah. We need to get the Portuguese tax number. You need to get the Portuguese bank account. And this is a new thing also, because on our first webinars, I would advise people to open a bank account and get a Portuguese tax number, or the other way around, get a Portuguese tax number and open a bank account and put certain amount of money here in Portugal if they wanted to apply for the D7. This was my advice. Yep. To block the process of denials. You know, it's one thing that they cannot say, oh yeah, you have income, but who is going to tell me that you are going to put your income in Portugal? Yeah. This was only an advice. What started to happen 2 weeks ago? Our clients in the United States got an email from the VFS saying that if you don't have a NIF and a bank account in Portugal, most likely we are going to deny your process. We know that this is not on the law and it's not mandatory, but we are going to deny it. Okay. So they made it mandatory. What I think it's happening, it's that the consulates especially in the United States, are pretty booked and with lots of visa process to handle, and so they started to be more strict. Yes. With the process. Yeah. I guess yes. That you know, people don't become victims of the popularity of the process, don't they? So they will start adding extra conditions and being more strict with the process to ease the workload. Gilda, you've been amazing tonight. Thank you so much for your information as ever. And of course, we do have your email address in the comments there if people want to get in touch with you. But the easiest way is go to expatsportugal.com and to find Gilda in the business directory there. Okay, thank you. If you have more doubts, get in touch and we'll sort it out. If you want to come to Portugal, I will support your decision because this is a great country to live in. Well said. Well said. Yeah. Actually, I should say boas festas, Feliz Natal, Bom Ano Novo to you. Yeah. Feliz Natal. Feliz Natal. Ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao. Bye. Thank you very much, Gilda.